The next Pittsburgh Steelers starting quarterback is, and that's a question, could it be Russell Wilson or Justin Fields? They've both been in the rumors lately, but I propose a completely different idea, drafting a quarterback. And I don't mean drafting a quarterback in the first round. I mean drafting a quarterback in the second round or the third round or whatever you have to do to get this guy, Jalen Milroe. We're going to talk all about Jalen Milroe on this episode of Steelers Digest because I believe, and a lot of people believe, he could be a great fit for the Pittsburgh Steelers. First and foremost, if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, and we'll keep you in the loop with the latest offseason coverage of your Pittsburgh Steelers. Steelers Nation, we have so much to talk about this offseason, but this has been flooding Steelers social media all day. Jalen Milroe, Alabama Crimson Tide quarterback that announced that he was going to enter the draft. Is Jalen Milroe the next quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers? Is the pressing question at hand. You can make the case for him to be the quarterback. You can make the case that he shouldn't be the next option. I'll show you quite a bit on both sides of this argument. Should he be? Shouldn't he be? I will give you all of that information to make the decision for yourself in this video. First, let's look at the tweet that surfaced earlier today. The Steelers apparently love Jalen Milroe. Their scouts are all over him, according to this source. They believe he's a first-round talent and a potential franchise quarterback. Mike Tomlin will see him next week at the Senior Bowl. Stay tuned. That is the tweet from a very popular Pittsburgh sports insider, which means this is a legitimate thing that the Steelers could be looking to do. If during his meeting with Jalen Milroe, Mike Tomlin determines that he has all the tools the Steelers are looking for, I would not put it past them to draft him in the first round. If they were to draft him in the first round, this could be a serious problem, though, and they would be met with a lot of controversy. The reason why I say that is because everybody that thinks they will draft him in the first round think he's the next Kenny Pickett. They think that he is the worst possible option to pick because he has the same flaws in his game that Kenny P had coming out of Pittsburgh. So if the Steelers decide to draft Jalen in the first round, this could be a catastrophic mistake that sets their quarterback clock back even further than it already is. This is a dude that has so many skills, and we're going to talk about the skills that he has, but he also has a lot of flaws in his game. And if anybody believes that he is anything remotely similar to Kenny Pickett, the Steelers should not be pulling the trigger in the first round. And I will tell you right now, before we even go any further, I am 100% not in on picking him at 21. Absolutely not. There is no reason to draft Jalen Milroe at 21. You draft a player you really need at a position of need in the first round, or you trade down. You do not take Jalen Milroe with a first-round pick. I don't even care if you have the 30th pick in the first round. He is not a first-round pick. I love Jalen Milroe. I'm fine with getting Jalen Milroe as long as it's not a first-round pick. And I would like to keep our first-round pick. If I had a choice, we have a lot of team holes to fill. So if we could use that pick for the greater good, that'd be great. Jalen Milroe is a early day 2 pick or just day 2 pick entirely. The fact that he's being talked about as a possible first-round pick is actually crazy to me. That just tells you how desperate teams are for a quarterback, specifically a franchise quarterback, and Jalen Milroe could very well be that. The 6'2", 225-pound Milroe will be the most fascinating evaluation in the 2025 NFL Draft. Some will immediately dismiss him as a legitimate quarterback prospect because of his inconsistencies as a passer. We've heard that before, no doubt. And I get it. His lack of precision and timing were major issues at times this season, most notably in Alabama's losses. But he is also one of the best pure athletes in the draft class. He has high-level arm strength, and I've seen that on display, with plenty of impressive throws on his tape, and NFL scouts speak highly about his intelligence and makeup. The NFL is a traits league, and Milroe has a rare package of skills that several teams will be willing to bet on somewhere in the top 50 picks. This is where I'm saying, if the Steelers decide that Jalen Milroe is the guy, your option is to pick him with your second-round pick, which I've seen happen in a lot of mock drafts, or you just give up on that idea entirely and trade down and out of the first round, or maybe just later first round pick, or maybe get an early second round pick. I'm fine if they need to get a second round pick in order to get him like higher in the second round. I just don't want to use the 21 pick on him. You trade the 21 pick, move down in the first round, draft someone else, but then also get some kind of second round pick in a trade. That's how you get Jalen Milroe. So I do think there's a possibility the Steelers take him in the first round. I'm just not on board for that. I would rather them wait. If he's a top 50 pick, you get him right around 50. If he falls to you with your second pick, perfect. That's exactly what you want if you're a Steelers fan. Because you're talking about somewhere in the 50s where we're going to be drafting with our second round pick. So that's really the ideal landing spot to get Jalen Milroe in the second round. So let's dive a little bit deeper into what Milroe brings to the table. The case for Jalen Milroe. When Tomlin was asked about the Steelers rarely being in range to land a top-flight quarterback in the draft, he pointed out Lamar Jackson was a late first-round pick and Jalen Hurts was picked in the second round. Me personally, that is my comp for Jalen Milroe, is Jalen Hurts. I see a lot of similarities in those two guys, and I think if you get Jalen Milroe, he could very well be that franchise quarterback that you need. Because look at Jalen Hurts. He's about to one win away. He's one win away from being in his second Super Bowl already, early in his career. Jalen Milroe could be that. He really could. He's got all the athletic traits, for sure. His burst, explosion, and speed give him the potential to be a souped-up version of Jalen Hurts. There it says it right there. It's interesting that assistant GM Andy Weidel set the draft board for Philadelphia in 2020 when the Eagles drafted Hurts. It seems he and Khan are working to build a run-first offense in a similar mold to Philadelphia's. Drafting a QB such as Milroe would be perfect for them. A move like this would make the most sense if the Steelers brought back Justin Fields, which I'm also on board for. Milroe could sit and wait until the team either feels he's ready or needs a spark. And if all the past the Steelers could take a quarterback, this is the one that the Athletic is most in favor of. That's where this analysis came from. The Steelers could see if Fields is the long-term answer while also planning for their future, Jalen Milroe. The case against Milroe. While there are plenty of late-round quarterbacks or late first-round, day two success stories, the Steelers are in this position because of their own attempt failing. That is the Kenny Pickett selection at number 20 in 2022. And again, they had the 21st pick in the draft this year. Just because a team needs a quarterback doesn't mean you draft a quarterback. That said, Milroe has tangible attributes that make him a possible first-round pick, like arm talent and elite speed. While Pickett was just a productive college quarterback without a ton of upside, drafting Milroe could work only if the right plan is to develop him, something Tomlin has never done in his NFL career. So we're going to continue to cover Jalen Milroe in this episode of Steelers Digest. There are so many articles just today talking about Milroe, so I'm going to throw two more at you. A draft profile of Jalen Milroe, a scouting report, and then just an overall analysis of if the Steelers should go after Jalen Milroe. So let's dive into that. I think that's important to cover. If we're really going to talk about Jalen Milroe, we have to look at the positive, we have to look at the negative, and then we have to analyze this entire thing, whatever this thing is. The Steelers' quarterback need, quarterback position, the question marks that have been surrounding this team since Ben Roethlisberger retired. So this is just one of those things that the Steelers have to figure out. The most important position on the field is Jalen Milroe poised to be the guy. That's the question that we have to ask ourselves. So let's look at the good first. He's a solid frame with lots of muscle, excellent arm talent, great at pushing the ball downfield. That's my favorite thing about Milroe is his deep ball. He has a heck of a deep ball, one of the best in the draft class. He can drop vertical throws in the bucket, shows touch on throws, and is able to layer the ball. Second gear, unusual burst to beat second and third level defenders. Excellent athlete on improvised and designed QB runs. Speed to win on the edge and size to break tackles. Capable of going through his progressions and making full field reads. That's a big one. Quick and compact release. Passes have good zip and velocity. Poised in the pocket. Doesn't look to immediately bail. Size and strengths. Throws out of sacks. And he's also played against top-notch competition in the SEC. The bad. He's wildly erratic. Misses too often on short, routine, and medium-level throws. He passes tend to sail sometimes, especially when he's under pressure. This is all stuff that can be fixed in time. He doesn't make enough yak throws in quick screen game. That could be helped with the Steelers' play calling on offense. struggles to read coverage and makes too many mistakes, misreads. That's something they say about Justin Fields. Tends to drift in the pocket, gets too much depth after reading the top of his drop, struggled in big gains. That's another big one. That's gonna hurt his draft stock. Feast or famine player. That is a bold take on Jalen Milroe. Feast or famine player. Man, I hadn't heard that one yet, but that's an interesting take on him. So the question is, could the Steelers take it? Should they trade back? Should they draft QB Jalen Milroe? Should they take a chance on this kid that's got all the potential in the world? I don't know. But let's look at the tape. Let's look at the case for both. Quarterback mobility. I can't say that word. Let's look at the case for both. Quarterback mobility is getting very close to becoming required in today's NFL. That is 100% accurate. Tomlin's been talking about it for years. That's Justin Fields, though, for me. And if the Steelers give Milroe a hard look because of his similar style to Justin Fields, that could be a perfect QB room for the Pittsburgh Steelers in 2025-26. You get Jalen Milroe, Justin Fields, and Skylar Thompson. I mean, come on, guys. Let's do it. I think if you draft a quarterback, but you also re-sign Justin Fields, that's Jalen Milroe. That's what Canty said here via ESPN's Unsportsmanlike. I think that's the route that they go down. Quarterbacks with similar skill sets and somebody that Arthur Smith can seamlessly integrate into the offense whenever he gets ready to be the starter for that team. So for me, makes a lot of sense, and I would agree with that. But Milroe is obviously much better and a much better pocket passer than Jameis Winston. So that pushes the same insider that we just read about saying that it is an easy comp to make Justin Fields. So Jalen Hurts references as well is also listed. That's my personal comp for him. But this is someone that the Steelers should really consider on day 2 of the draft. And then this right here, I don't think I'd support it, but I feel like it's their chance at getting a do-over after passing on Jalen Hurts in 2020. However, Milroe would feel hat on hat if the Steelers bring back Fields this offseason. Projection mid-late day 2. That's exactly where I have him as well. And the Depot draft grade, that's Steelers Depot for you. 4th round rotational player. So we're not 100% sold on Jalen Milroe at Steelers Depot, apparently. But for me, I'm cool with him as a 2nd-round pick. I really am. I've taken him in mock drafts. I like Jalen Milroe. He's got all the traits. He's got all the tools. Dude's an absolute beast. I mean, come on. So if the Steelers are in love with him, I say go for it. Just don't pick him in the 1st round for the love of God. Do not draft Jalen Milroe in the 1st round. That would be a huge mistake. Anyways, thank you guys for watching this episode of Steelers Digest. 100% of this video was about Jalen Milroe, a quarterback I really like, quarterback for the Alabama Crimson Tide. He is now going to the NFL, and he is projected to be a late 1st or a 2nd-round pick. For our sake, I hope he's a 2nd-round pick, and he could look really good in black and gold. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you on the next edition of Steelers Digest.